Colonel Gaddafi was an obsessive buyer of weapons. During his 40 years in power, he spent an estimated $30 billion on arms. Like a compulsive shopaholic, he bought up anything he could get his hands on, from the humble Kalashnikov to tanks and fighter jets via an assortment of mortars, missiles and mines. When rebel forces toppled his regime 5 years ago, Gaddafi's tightly controlled stockpiles were thrown open. Today, these weapons are largely concentrated in the hands of rival militia groups. But in this lawless and divided country, it's getting easier for anyone to get their hands on a gun, or even something bigger. Newsnight has been given access to data that shows how arms are being traded openly on the internet. Researchers have been tracking weapons sales on a number of different online platforms. Here's one example: a rocket-propelled grenade launcher offered for sale on Facebook. Another seller comments on the picture that he has more missiles for sale. Over a period of a year, the researchers monitored more than 1,300 weapons sales on just a handful of pages, most of them closed or secret Facebook groups. The research was commissioned by the Small Arms Survey, a group that tracks weapons proliferation around the world. We spoke to one of the investigators in Libya who wanted to remain anonymous for his own safety.
It's basically the dealer comes with the gun in the trunk of his car, then over phone calls, and they meet at a certain place. Usually it's a public place, and they do the transaction not so public. It's quite discreet. Cash, 100%.
Much of the trade is in small arms, pistols, rifles, the kind of thing that an individual might want to buy for personal protection, especially in a country as lawless as Libya. But not all of it. More worryingly, the researchers also found evidence of bigger weapons being bought and sold online. They tracked nearly 100 separate trades in what are known as light weapons. That's light as opposed to heavy artillery. But make no mistake, this is serious stuff.
Whilst the bulk of the weapons traded were traditional small arms, sort of handguns through self-loading rifles and machine guns, there were also the more significant systems that could have battlefield impacts or terrorist use, including thermobaric weapons, man-portable air defence systems and anti-tank guided weapons.
One seller offered this anti-aircraft gun for 85,000 Libyan dinar, that's about £45,000, truck included. These are the kinds of weapons the rebels used to overthrow Gaddafi. They're the kinds of weapons you buy if you want to wage an insurgent campaign. The man-portable air defence systems, or MANPADS as they're known, are perhaps the most worrying. They're handheld surface-to-air missiles that can take a passenger plane out of the sky. The researchers found 2 full systems advertised for sale. This reusable shoulder-held launcher, or grip stock, is the crucial bit, on offer for between 4,000 and 8,000 Libyan dinar, or just £2,000 to £4,000.
We found a number of man-portable air defence systems, which are essentially shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles, listed on the social media sites that we monitored. And these are basically a threat to civilian aviation.
The researchers believe that in most cases, people wanting to buy these kinds of weapons are members of the militia. But there are also more worrying implications.
We can see that the weapons are sort of leaking out, and given the flow that we already see of human trafficking and other sort of illicit flows across the water into Europe, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that we could see some of these weapons going across the water into Europe.
Most of the weapons tracked by the researchers came from Gaddafi's arsenal, although some had been shipped to Libya during or after the revolution. In a country run by rival militia groups, it's difficult to define this trade in legal terms. It's certainly unregistered, and it's definitely against Facebook policy. In a statement, they told us,
"It's against Facebook's community standards to coordinate private sales of firearms, and we remove any such content as soon as we become aware of it. We encourage people to use the reporting links found across our site so that our team of experts can review content swiftly."
At the moment, this appears to be a largely internal trade. That is to say, the weapons are being bought and sold by Libyans, most likely for use in Libya. But the ease of use and anonymity that the internet offers suggests the threat of these weapons spreading beyond Libya's borders is real.